Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter where you are calling from. Calling. Why do I want to say calling? I just want to pick up that old rotary phone and just call. We can't even see them anymore. But I'm your co-host, Kevin Impeccable Peck, and welcome to the Chicken Box. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and if you haven't smiled, try it. Really, it changes your whole state. Dr. Draper, how are you? Before we get into it.
I'm well, impeccable. I'm good to see you. I missed being with you guys last week, but I'm back. And so great to be back on the box.
Courtney, my Gen Z buddy, what's happening?
I am doing well today. I am blessed, and I'm glad to see you both back this week. No, Impeccable was there last week, but welcome back, Dr. Draper.
That's right. I called in from the boat. Technology has changed, y'all. Actually, it was a ship, a cruise liner. But welcome to the show. If you've never joined us before and you're not from the Baltimore area, a chicken box is 4 wings and fries, salt, pepper, ketchup. It gets greasy sometimes. The box gets greasy sometimes. If it's in the styrofoam container, that gets burned up. But the food is usually fantastic. But if not, this chicken box here is where you come and speak your truth about a topic powered by the oldest Black media company in the world, 131-year Afro-American newspaper. Check us out if you haven't. Go to afro.com. We'll get into some more shameless plugs later. We've been in technology. We had our afro.com before USA Today. Anyway, we'll laud on that later. Black people always ahead of the game in technology. We have a fantastic show today. It's Black people versus tech law, right?
Legal tech.
Legal tech. I want to call it tech law. Legal tech, like Legal Zoom. All right. Legal tech, right? And I started out talking about a telephone that's a rotary, and everything has changed. In most industries, technology has made the process better. So we're going to see how it has affected legal tech, and we have some innovative entrepreneurs who are coming on to help shine some light on the legal tech. And Black people, we have to get it together. A lot of times we don't think we need legal until it's too late. And I'll tell you this, the truth poorly represented loses every time. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So who do we have on today? Courtney, I'll let you. We need a drum roll on this show somehow.
We're still working on the chicken sound, so.
All right, I'd rather have the drum roll. Go ahead. Let's see who our first guest is. All right, that's beautiful. Who was our first guest today, Courtney?
Today we have Kisha A. Brown, James Brinkley II, and Joey McCall. And I can introduce Kisha.
All right.
So, Kisha A. Brown is founder and CEO of legal tech startup Justice Connection, an online marketplace dedicated to the Black experience in the law. Currently, it operates the nation's only Black attorney referral and legal resource platform. She is passionate about bringing diverse perspectives to legal tech and access to the law. In her past life, she revamped the Baltimore Civil Rights Office as executive director, authored several Maryland laws as the director of legislative affairs for the Maryland Office of the Attorney General, and as the director of civil rights. She started off as a child support litigator and policy advocate at the Baltimore Legal Aid Bureau. She attended Wellesley College and Georgetown University Law Center. Kisha is a new mom, and she also loves cupcakes.
Cupcakes. Welcome to the show, Kisha. All I heard all those accolades were cupcakes. I might be hungry or something. My wife cooks good cupcakes as well. Welcome to the Chicken Box. We can't wait to see what the Justice Connection is about. But before we do that, let's go to Joey. We got JKJ today. Joey, Kisha, and James in the building. Am I doing Joey or you? I'll do Joey. Let me put these glasses on, Joey. Joey M. McCall, Esquire, MBA, is the founder and the chief vision officer for Law Links. Law Links is a Black-owned legal technology company that is committed to helping individuals access innovative legal tools and on-demand legal help where they need it the most. We need it, y'all. Law Links. In addition to the day-to-day management of the company, Mr. McCall directly oversees the research and development of technology innovations, that are in the Law Links pipeline. The self-named Law Links mobile app and the Themis, am I saying it wrong? Or Themis blockchain? Is that correct,
Yeah,
Joe?
you said it right.
Okay, you've been through some blockchain. Come on, you stepping it all the way up with an eye of an ever-evolving future. Welcome, Mr. McCall. I could read on about you forever, but I have you right here, so there's no need to read. Welcome to the Chicken Box. How are you today?
Good, and you?
I am fantastic, and I'm always going to say fantastic words about myself because nobody else will. Anyway, James, welcome to the show. Courtney, or Dr. Draper, have James's information?
I do.
Listen.
James is like Kisha and Joey, just a techie. That's all I can say. Anytime I goes from being a scientist to a tech person, the way he has, even though he had some tech in his background before that, hats off to James. James likes basketball. He likes being with his family. He was an IP attorney, and he has 2 tech startups out of IP Gen, which I can't wait to hear about. And is it Lipe or Leapy? How do you pronounce it? I Leap. All right, I Leap. And he really has a heart, as all of them do, for the community, to make sure that we as a community get access through technology and through everything that they offer, the legal services that we don't, always get. He likes to, as I said, uplift his community, have a positive impact on the world, and he's done it all. He's like they've all done big things in corporate or for municipalities, but here they are working together. And I think, and I'm not sure they tell us, that they may be pretty unique in this whole legal tech field. So we're interested in finding out about how that works, right? The legal tech and what they do and how we can all plug in. So welcome.
Let's go, y'all. Listen, if you just tuned in, this is Black People versus Legal Tech. I got it right, okay? We have some superstars on the line, and let's just get into it. What's your definition of legal tech? Jump in. Anybody?
I'll jump in. So
I'm gonna say your name.
I'll jump in. Yeah, legal tech is all about fundamentally utilizing the law and technology, right? And bringing those two together. And so oftentimes you may hear about fintech or edutech. So QuickBooks would be considered a fintech company. It's taking the financial world and the tech world and bringing them together. And so we're looking at innovative ways to advance justice, to increase access to justice, and that includes not just the criminal aspect of it, but across the board, looking at access to justice and utilizing technology to enhance that. That's essentially legal tech, or at least how I look at it.
Anybody else want to add to that?
No. She did a good job. You did a good job defining, legal tech. It's like she said, it's just a marriage of the two. Trying to push forward legal law, into the new, I guess you want to say, to the 4th industrial revolution, however you want to call it. But technology is here, and we have to use it to our best ability to push things forward.
So is it actually the digital revolution, or is it the industrial? You said industrial revolution.
Well, they call it the 4th. I forget, how they defined the first 3. It started with the steam engine and those things and all of that. But now, with the net, and then with Web 3.0, and then with AI and things coming along now, we're moving into a new world, and we have to get in front of it, to make sure that we're still able to justify what we're doing, here, as we serve others.
So are you guys all startups, or have you been around for a while?
All startups, right? So all started from the grassroots, if you will, an idea, and taking it all the way. So what differentiates, a startup from a small business is we intend to scale, right? This isn't just a local initiative. It's something that we intend to scale very big globally and utilizing technology to do that.
I like that, Kisha. So small businesses, you'll need to be a startup because you better be intending to scale too if you're going to make it in this. So we're going to do a quick round. Okay, let's just say it's $1 billion on the line, and we want to learn about your company. Joey, we're going to need you to tell us in less than 2 minutes, what is LawLinks and why should you get the $1 billion?
Well, LawLinks is a legal technology company that really looks at solving societal problems with innovative technology today, right? And so we do that in 2 ways. We facilitate on-demand legal help so that whenever somebody is in a situation where they don't know their rights or they just would feel more comfortable with an attorney, we facilitate on-demand legal help either virtually or in person. But we also have innovative tools to help or empower people to protect their rights themselves. And that's the Themis blockchain. And what Themis is looking to do is Themis is looking to balance the scales by making sure that people don't have to wait for a person necessarily, right? Whenever you're in a situation, sometimes it helps if you can mitigate the damage or if you can at least get access to tools that can prevent things from getting worse. And that's what Themis is looking to do. So we're looking to help people to invoke their rights, their Miranda rights. We're looking to help people to record time and date stamp video evidence of police interactions. We also actually are looking to facilitate eventually contactless traffic stops for non-violent minor infractions so that we can reduce some of these things that go bad, these traffic stops that go bad. And so LawLinks really stands for like a paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift is from one of dependency and reaction to one of empowerment and proactiveness. And that's what we're about.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show. LawLinks is in the building. We have some powerful startups. This is Black People vs. Legal Tech here on the Chicken Box where you speak your truth. Next, James, one of our newest startups. Joey. No, wait a minute. The names went away.
That was just you just had Joey.
Okay, this is
I
James.
do it all the time. I'll be saying both of their names.
Too many James and Joey anyway. Look,
Yeah.
Black people on the show today. Okay, James, you are on the pitch box. Let's hear all about IPGen and iLeap. Like you said,
cool.
you hoop,
Thank
so
you.
I guess that's some Jordanist iLeap kind of hoop kind of lingo, huh? Okay, I see it going there. Let's go.
All right, so for IPGen, we're open to anyone involved in any of the IP processes. We provide equitable access to those who lack capital and resources, and to close the gap between small business and big business. As we take a step towards removing barriers that often limit these opportunities. In doing so, we're building a global, inclusive, frictionless end-to-end platform as we streamline, automate, and organize these IP processes. It's our vision by 2030 that anyone involved in these IP processes will have to do so on our platform. And that goes from startups to creatives, to the university tech transfer groups, law firms, even the patent and trademark examiners at the USPTO. And so we say for startups and entrepreneurs who cannot obtain quality IP protection due to the lack of capital and resources, we're pretty much the TurboTax Plus of IP, where we allow the average person to go through these various processes on their own, but we'll connect them with an expert, when they need help along the way. We're also building, features into this platform for freelancers, as well as for the investors who will invest in these companies at an early stage. So that's pretty much the nuts and bolts of IPGen. iLeap is my second startup, and that's pretty much what we're trying to ensure that the adolescents, the young adults, transition from children to adulthood in the best way possible. So we're building a platform where we have jobs, courses, their own social media, and then we're going to add a live streaming gaming part of that as well. So, they can have everything they need right there on one platform as they transition into adulthood, no matter what path they take, whether they start to work right away or whether they go to college, or whatever they decide to do. they'll have help with us on that platform.
Hey,
James,
I
go
gotta
ahead,
let me ask James a question before we go to Kisha. And so James, come on, break it down. IP can be, certainly IP is a tech term, but some people might hear IP and think, like in our industry, they'll think intellectual property. So you want to tell us a little bit more about what you mean by IP processes?
Yeah, so IP is short for intellectual property,
Okay.
which you have your main sections in patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. Each one of those, each one of those protections offer different things. So, for example, patents offer like the inventions, the processes, the methods, the compositions. Trademarks are for your logos and slogans and taglines and things to differentiate your brand from the other person's brand. Copyrights are for creatives, whether it's a book, a movie, a song, or things of that nature. And then trade secrets are when you keep it, close to your chest, like the Coca-Cola, formula. They didn't seek any protection, patent protection for that, and they kept it as a trade secret, so that lasts longer. And they have to protect that with certain precautions to keep that close, so it won't get out.
That was my question. Welcome to the Chicken Box. If you think we in the weeds, we are not. We are just stimulating your technology brain today, everybody. And that has been James and Joey. And last but not least, and of course, Kisha Brown. Welcome to the Chicken Box, and tell us all about your startup and why you should get the $1 billion.
Yeah. Well, you give me the $1 billion, right? And I help support and empower both Joey and James, so it's a win-win-win, right? So Justice Connection is an online marketplace dedicated to the Black experience in the law. We currently operate the only Black attorney referral platform in the country where we connect people to Black attorneys. And to me, that is one of the key areas in how we really increase access to justice, right? Lawyers aren't just for the rich and famous. They're not just for celebrities. They're not just for folks who can drop 10 stacks on the table, right? But each and every one of us need to have a lawyer in our inner circle, right? In our network, someone who can advise us, whether it's getting into a car accident, whether it's dealing something with our family, everything from prenuptial agreements to custody, child support, divorce, the whole gamut, whether it's building a business, whether it's dissolving a business, whether it's merging and acquiring a business, contracts, all of these things that we take for granted, I think, sometimes in our day-to-day life where we're trying to make it do, right? And just survive the day, when really being well-informed can help empower us, right? So we spend a great amount of time educating and empowering the community in the law so that we believe that a better informed person is more likely to then proactively engage the law. And so, for example, you think about when someone's at a job, right? And they're being, discriminated against. Maybe someone's treating you differently because of your hair or your skin color or your accent or where you're from or your religion or because you're pregnant or because your sexual orientation, the list goes on. And oftentimes we just take those things sometimes on the chin and we keep it moving, right? This weekend I was speaking with someone and she's being discriminated against in her job and she's ready to leave. And you don't have to stay in a bad environment, but we also don't have to leave under someone else's circumstances. Right? We can be empowered to make sure that when you leave with that severance check, right? That lets them know that the actions, the experience was unacceptable, and having a lawyer guide you and inform you. Sometimes it's not taking someone to court. It's literally just having someone help navigate the terrain that you don't even realize is legal. And so the first aspect of Justice Connection is this online platform connecting people to Black attorneys. And the next aspect is really focusing also on discrimination in the workplace and expungement in the criminal space. So we're looking to use this as our beginning, right? But definitely not our end, as I think there is such a wide array of possibilities within legal tech, right? Taking that law and technology and marrying the two. And one of the things that's so amazing about being in partnership with James and Joey and us being 3 Black attorney founders is there aren't many of us, right? And as Black people, we bring our own perspective, our own experiences to the table to innovate and create something that no one else can. And so that's what we're talking about today, right? Like getting able to take a deep dive, and we're super excited to be here. And I'll take my $1 billion in check form, please.
Well, she already said she won, James and Joy. You see that?
I see. But good thing with that is that she shared one of that she said. So you can sell mine to me. Raise the limit.
That's $333,333,000.
We'll put it to good use. Don't worry.
That's a heck of a Zelle. You're not going to reach that Zelle limit, believe me. I don't even think you can send that in a wire unless you really already got that kind of account. But you already might. If you just tuned in, this is Black People versus Legal Tech. And we have Kisha, James, and Joey, all startup innovators who have said, hey, technology should really enhance the legal field. And we thank you for all of your just creativity and vision and even creating these platforms. And it makes me think, I guess everybody, I don't know about you, Courtney, anybody ever asked you what attorney you use, or I need this? I know I've gotten the question of what divorce attorney did you use? I'm like, okay, I'm on my third and final marriage. That's a joke. We're way over your heads to come back later. You know what I'm saying? But everybody's always asking. So go to Justice Connection. Let's put this. Why do you think African Americans do they prefer an African American attorney when it's all said and done?
So, it's a perfect question. I think that the quick answer is yes, right? And starting Justice Connection, been overwhelmingly supportive from the Black community. Black people are like, yes, I want to connect with a Black attorney. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I think that traditionally, not just Black people, but everyone in this country, the visual of an attorney is an old white man with a suitcase, right? That is what an attorney looks like, which is why Black attorneys in Maryland and around the country have been discriminated against in courthouses where, I think the Afro ran a story, maybe it was a year or two ago, around a Black attorney who basically the bailiff wanted to arrest him because he didn't believe he was the attorney and he was sitting on the wrong side of the table. And, we've been drinking the white man's Kool-Aid longer than anybody, right?
Do they drink Kool-Aid? I'm just kidding.
It is.
They definitely do. Go back to the old commercials. They drink Kool-Aid. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm Gen X, so I've been, I grew up drinking Kool-Aid back in the day. I don't drink it now, but in the 80s I did. Right. So I think some of it is a mentality change, right? There is this notion that if you want a good lawyer, you got to get a good Jewish attorney. I hear that a lot, quite frankly, right? But I think that there's nothing like having someone who is culturally competent to be able to tap into your experience on day one, minute one, and be able to take their legal acumen, their own background, and be able to understand and navigate the law on your behalf. So, and I think people who have hired Black attorneys have that experience oftentimes. Now you're going to find the good and the bad in everyone, but nevertheless, Black attorneys have a special place in their heart for Black people, right? That is hilarious. I don't remember that Malcolm X quote, but we'll run with it.
But Kisha, you're onto something. I mean, I checked a stat really quickly. Only 5% of attorneys are African American.
How many?
And that's rounding up.
5%, and that's rounded up. And we're 13 or more percentage of the population is African American. The way the percentages get rounded up even more is because they throw Hispanics in. But I'm just talking about Black attorneys. There are not that many Black attorneys.
No.
In the scheme.
Joey, why do you think that is, Joey?
I think that a lot of times, to answer your question because I want to come back to something Kisha said, but to answer your question as to why there's not so many Black attorneys, only at 5%, is I think that, when you think about the traditional path that a person takes when they want to go through higher education, it takes a lot of support. It takes a lot of support. It takes being in an environment that will facilitate you making some sacrifices for about 7 to 10 years, because that's what it takes, right? You're not just talking about going to undergrad, then getting into law school, much less passing, graduating from law school. You're also talking about passing the bar. I remember when I was in law school, I'm there, and for many people who don't know this, most law schools follow an ABA standard where you're not allowed to work in your first year, right? So you're not allowed to work in your first year, so you can't really make money. You become dependent on these types of student loans, and a lot of us have bills and other situations that may prevent us from really focusing on it. But I was in law school with people that, they had trust funds or their school was already paid for. And so it makes it a lot easier for somebody who has no, financial constraints or no issues, and all they have to do is just go to school and learn. It makes it a lot easier for them to progress through that system than somebody who may come from an environment or a background where they have certain factors that they may have to consider. Maybe they may be a teen parent, and maybe they may have a child at home. Maybe they want to become a lawyer, but they're also the head of household and the primary earner. And so you have these kind of situations that make it very difficult to just say, I'm going to go commit to this for 7 to 10 years when there's these other ways of making money, And so I think that actually speaks to the 5%. And I think that, speaking to something that Kisha said about the type of attorneys people are looking for, I think that a lot of the problems that some people may have, especially in the justice system, come back to people being able to relate to you. A lot of the clients that I would represent, some of them would come from other attorneys, and these other attorneys didn't have the same cultural background as them. And so it was very easy to tell them, hey, just take a plea deal, just take this plea deal so you can get back to work, But for me, as a young Black male who's obviously, a lawyer, went through the process, I understood what it meant to be that person in their shoes, and could say to myself, or say to them, listen, you could take this plea deal, but you need to consider this because, the job market's already tough. You take a plea to this, it's a felony. You're going to have a hard time getting X amount of job, this amount, getting into these types of places. And so I think that is a lot of times why the cultural background comes into play, especially with, people who are in need of legal services that come from marginalized or minority communities, because of the fact that the problems that we face require that type of understanding to give the best advice at times.
Man, you
Oh,
ain't jumping, James. No, I was just saying you hit the nail on the head, because, you don't know what road you're going down anyway, especially legally. That's why you need a guide. In case you didn't know it, sometimes you want to be the do-it-yourselfer, and you've done yourself no justice, and you end up in possibly more trouble than you thought you would be by hey, I'm gonna just look it up online and do it yourself, when you've gone through 7 or 10 years already and already learned the law, which is an incredible amount of information anyway, and then learn how to navigate it. So James, jump in.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, go a little deeper into, that 5%, especially, coming from communities like, some of us might have come from. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, kind of an inner city type place, and we didn't see, many lawyers or doctors as we grew up. Most of the time we saw, people playing sports. So, we all had hoop dreams, wanted to play football, basketball. And then you even had, people who did other things, such as people who may have sold drugs or things like that, where you see a certain people who make money other ways that might not be the best way to go. And a lot of people follow that look, follow that dollar, and it leads them down a path to where now they can't, go out to go to college or to be a lawyer or to be a doctor. And so it kind of puts our people in a cycle, So, we're growing up. So let's just say if I did stay in that environment, I would grow up, I would have kids, I would still be there. And then my kids would grow up and see the same things. And that's happening over and over again. And so we have to break that cycle. And I think we're on the right track to do that now. There's still a lot of work to do, but I think we're going in the right direction with people like myself, Joy, and Kisha, and you all as well, providing this platform so people can see us and people can know that people who look like us are out here doing the things that we're doing. So even if you are in those communities, now we have technology at our fingertips, so you can go online and go on social media and see this podcast and see, people who are doing these things. And hopefully that will change the minds of those younger people to want to do more as they grow up.
So one of the things that people think, thank you all for those answers too. And Keisha, I want to ask you, a lot of times people think, I just can't afford a lawyer. I know I need a lawyer. It's way, beyond my pay grade, way outside of what I can afford. What do you say to people who just, don't consider a lawyer because they can't afford it or they don't think they can afford it?
Yeah, so two parts, right? One, this is why using technology in the law is important, right? Because technology often allows us to streamline things in a way that can bring the cost down, like through James's IP Gen, where those who might not be able to hire a patent attorney can now do part of the process themselves, which would drive that cost down tremendously. Same thing with Joey and what he's doing over at Law Links, being able to mitigate having those bad experiences in the law, allow you to not have to hire an attorney on the front end as well. But for oftentimes I tell folks who say, hey, I can't afford an attorney, Kisha, I recommend to them, and I'm really building a campaign around the paid legal consultation, right? You don't need 10 stacks to hire an attorney. And oftentimes, this is also why when we go outside of our community, people are purposefully intimidating us in the law. Oh, well, it's going to cost you, and they up the charge. Come on, if we get charged twice amount for X, Y, and Z, why wouldn't people be upcharging us for our legal services as well, right? I've heard of people being charged 40% for the car accident attorney when it should be 33%. That 7% makes a big difference when you win $10,000, $30,000, right? And this is supposed to be a game changer for you. And so I tell people, like, you don't have to pay for an attorney all up front. You could do a paid legal consultation, which true legal advice will pay you in the end. It doesn't cost you up front, right? Because oftentimes, to Impeccable's point, we try to do things ourselves, right? Oh, I'm a do it myself and put it together. And oftentimes then we've waited longer for the issue to then grow, become more complex, and it costs more on the back end, right? Especially, for example, Tony, when you're like running a business. If you're running a business, you need an attorney. You cannot afford to not have an attorney. Just like you prioritize making sure that you have enough product in stock, or your labeling looks good, or you got a website, and you have these fundamentals, having an attorney in our inner circle is paramount to being able, quite frankly, to navigate not only as a business owner, but quite frankly, everything we have to deal with here in this country, right? And because we've been taking everything DIY and doing it ourselves, it hurts more, right? We feel that pain more. It takes longer. It's more complex. And oftentimes having a skilled attorney who can say, let me help you now make sure your contracts are tight on the front end, so that people can't steal money from you, or there's less liability risk, right? And being able to go through that. So when you have that conversation, I tell people, Tony, like, budget 2 conversations a year. You don't need to hire your own attorney and be like, all right, my business has 2 times a year, budget to have a conversation with an attorney, right? That can range anywhere from $250 to $600. Right? You have all your questions, you have all your materials, you send it to them in advance, and you sit down and you have an hour, probably more, because you got a lot to talk about, right? And you have that consultation and get that guidance and get that information in a way that you're not paying thousands and thousands of dollars, but you are able to get some guidance. And then you begin to build that relationship so that when something does happen, you can just pick up the phone real quick and be like, let me call my attorney and see if I can get a quick answer, right? As opposed to now, I don't know anyone, I waited long, and it costs more, and it's a more complex issue.
Got it. And somebody asked, I think one of our viewers asked, is there a subscription fee for any of, oh, there it is. Is there a subscription price to join your network? I guess this is for all of you or any of you.
Yeah, mine is quick. No, there's not, right? The attorneys pay to be in the network. But for the average, like if you're interested in connecting with an attorney, it's completely free. And I personally do not like those subscription models because oftentimes it's like paying for something on layaway. And then when you're like, okay, the layaway is done, you can get your dress, but then you guys still pay full price for the dress. And you're like, wait, but I thought I'd unpaid layaway for 12 months. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, that was just to look at the dress. Now to wear the dress, you got to pay full price.
People don't know what listen, only the Gen X knows what layaway is. Gen Z, do you know what layaway is?
Yeah, I go to Burlington and get a layaway.
Layaway is still
around. Right there, didn't she?
Layaway is still around. If you just tuned in, this is Black People versus Legal Tech. We have 3 fantastic startups on. Kisha, she connects experts like Joey and James. And you said, Joey, let me just go back to Law Links real quick, because you say you give the information before they have to hire a lawyer. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so and that's partially correct. And then so I'll elaborate, and it'll actually answer what Dr. Draper asked Kisha earlier regarding people who can't afford a lawyer. So, we looked at it, and we do a lot of customer discovery in terms of how we decide what products to launch and how we develop. And so we do a lot of surveys. We do a lot of this customer discovery interviews. We do focus groups. And, the first product we developed was on-demand legal help, which was Law Links. And what we found is that, consumers, love the idea of being able to get to an attorney on demand, right? Because if you're, whether it's criminal, whether it's personal injury, the ability to just have somebody right there when you need it provided a lot of safety and security to those. And so, that was one side of it. So we had a 95% validation rate with consumers on whether they thought our product would be effective and whether they would pay for it. But the interesting part came with the lawyers. And with the lawyers, our discovery basically showed not only were the price point expectations very high outside the range of what consumers were willing to pay, so you had that unequal kind of balance in terms of expectation versus the service. But then you also had a lot of lawyers did not feel comfortable providing like on-demand legal help in some instances. So for example, some didn't even want, like they said they would not go out physically to where a person was to provide on-demand legal help, or they said that if there was law enforcement involved, they wouldn't feel comfortable. They wanted to talk with somebody after the fact, right? So you go through your whole situation with the police, and then when you're finished, you come to us. And that's kind of a reactive approach and not really in the vein of what we were trying to do. And for those that can afford an attorney, I'll say this, there's nothing wrong with getting an attorney anytime you need help. But for us, I focused on this word earlier of empowerment. We want to shift. We want to create a technological paradigm shift from people depending on others to being empowered to do certain things themselves. And the reason why is because through that discovery process I just talked about, the biggest revelation was that, people are independent variables, meaning you don't know what you're necessarily going to get. Whatever attorney, whatever cultural background they may have, you don't know if they're going to be good or bad, if they're going to have your best interests out for you or not. And I think we all know a story of somebody who's probably gotten taken advantage of by an attorney. I'm an attorney and I know some, right? And so that's where we started saying to ourselves, we have to create technology for the haves and the have-nots. For those who have money, we have Law Links. But for those who just want to help to mitigate the damage, through the blockchain that we're developing, it's the Themis blockchain, people will have the ability to use apps that integrate with this blockchain to perform functions that are geared at preserving or protecting their rights, preserving evidence, things of that nature. So in a common example, Impeccable, you get, you're driving home, you're in your nice car, you get pulled over. You don't know why you've been pulled over. You're not speeding. There's nothing wrong with your vehicle. So you're suspicious of the situation. theoretically, when our app is launched and the blockchain is up and running, you would be able to invoke your Miranda rights automatically through that app. It would identify the geographical location that you're in, and that would be cross-referenced with the law enforcement jurisdiction you're in. And then that way, when you invoke your Miranda rights, your Fourth Amendment rights, your Fifth Amendment rights, and your Sixth, your right to a counsel, that's actually sent to that law enforcement entity so that they have that on record, the time of when you invoked your rights. And so some people say, well, why is that important, to invoke your rights or anything, the police read you your rights if they're going to do something. Well, there was a case that came out, Supreme Court decision in 2021, the Vega case. And a lot of people aren't aware of this, and they should be. But that case stood for the proposition and set precedent that law enforcement officers have no civil liability anymore for not reading your Miranda rights. So I'll put that in context. Normally before this decision, if an officer took you into custody, custodial interrogation is what us lawyers would call it, and they did not read you your Miranda rights, you would come to an attorney, like through Kisha's network, and they would file what's called the Section 1983 action for a violation of your civil rights. It would go to federal court, and the officer would be named in the lawsuit, and you would probably get some kind of monetary damages or settlement if the facts of the allegations were proven. That's a civil remedy. That remedy is no longer here, and it's through that Supreme Court case Vega, right? And so while officers we're not saying that officers will not read your Miranda rights, but I think we can all agree that when there's no civil liability for them, there can be some instances where that occurs. So with the D app that we're developing through the Themis blockchain, you will have the ability to just invoke your rights so that it's done right then and there, so that if you do get with a private attorney later down the line, or if you end up with a public defender or whoever, they now have something to say to the judge, Your Honor, my client invoked their rights at this time. This is what took place after, this was an unlawful arrest, or this evidence should be thrown out or suppressed. They have something to use now, because before this, it was just your word against the officers. Then that goes to a long drawn out trial. Maybe it lasts a year or two. Meanwhile, you have to explain all of that to your employer while you're missing time. If you're applying for jobs that may come up in a public record search, things of that nature, and there's no recourse until it's finished. So what we're trying to do with what we're developing is we want to take a preventative measure to kind of enlarge that window of, okay, what's happening during these traffic stops? What is it that's making, that's causing people to have their rights violated? And we're trying to create solutions for that. And so that's what I meant by preventative. It's not just information. Our technology is actually going to do a function for that person, so that maybe for the person who doesn't even know their Miranda rights, as long as they know we need to have this app, they're good, right?
I don't even know who Miranda is. I forgot who she was. But anyway, if you just tuned in, this is Black People versus Legal Tech, and we have some tech startup superstars. That was just Joey from Law Links. If you missed it, it will be on demand, and you can rewind because the information is there. So basically, Joey, you have on-demand information on your app. That on-demand legal information, pretty much.
Well, on-demand legal information, access to lawyers, and also the ability to do certain functions like invoke your rights and preserve time and date stamped evidence. Yeah.
We're going to have all of you back on individually, because you guys are power packed by yourself, and it's not enough time to deep dive into everything, because we just want to know what the theme is blockchain is. Don't tell us right now. Save it for the show when you come back. Okay. Look, Courtney, our Gen Z digital superstar, what's going through your mind on this show about legal tech?
Yeah, anybody can jump in and answer this, but what are some testimonials that you've heard about your startups, and how have your startups impacted the Black community?
I'll let you go, James.
Okay. I'm going to give me some time in here, let me go and jump in. So some of the testimonials early, like Joey said, when we first start out, we have to do tons of customer discovery. So you don't want to build something just because it's on your mind or you think it'll change people's lives or that you think it'll change the world. You want to make sure that the people who you're going to be selling it to or the people who are going to be using it will benefit from what you're doing. And so in that customer discovery, we got a lot of people, whether it's people that will be using it as entrepreneurs and things of that nature, or whether it's the attorneys and on that side, they were saying that we definitely need this out here now. And so we're building and through building we had to pivot a bit too a couple of times because as you're building and you're continuing your customer discovery, you might see something that you might need more right now, or that you might can hold off on that. And so as we continue to build, and then when we launched and people actually started to use our product, they're getting through these processes quicker, for definitely cheaper. Someone said that if you do have the money, you should always hire a lawyer, and I totally agree with that as well. But when you don't have that capital to go through certain things, we cut that cost tremendously. And so these entrepreneurs appreciate the fact that they can now get this protection early from the beginning, through multiple filings, multiple pieces of IP that they can receive, to start building that portfolio early on. And it benefits the people who lack capital. And a lot of times those people are within the Black community, are women, are people who can't get that venture capital as early as their white counterparts. And so now when you go into that investment room, now you have a package, you have what you've been building, and you can show this IP to show that I have things to defend what I'm doing. I have things to keep the competitors out. And so now you have an advantage along with the others, in that investment room. So I think that what we're doing, is definitely benefiting the underrepresented communities out here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Courtney, for jumping in. We're powering close to the top of the hour, y'all. The hour, listen, what you say, Kisha, you need to budget 2 hours a year if you're a business. So we either pay $250, $600, or $1,000 an hour. I don't know what justifies it. And I think for most people, when it comes to spending money, they need to understand the education of the value that is provided within that particular service, right? A lot of times as Black people, we want the cheaper route all the time. We want the deal. We want the discount. We don't, they don't ask for it in Louis Vuitton because they ain't giving no discount, but you going up in there like it's like it's the best sliced bread when it's just a piece of bread. But they have somehow psychologically convinced you that this piece of bread that they're not going to discount, that they really don't care if they get Black people's money or not. But hey, we love these Black people making our kids and our trust funds better. So what is the value? And listen, I heard you say the time and the commitment of what it takes to be an attorney in this system. You didn't create the system. You just know what the system is to become an attorney. But tell me about your value and how you price yourself and what people should understand about it, because it's important that they know the value that you bring for solving these particular problems.
Yeah, no, that is like the best question, right? Because a big part of what we do at Justice Connection is really educating our community around the value of legal counsel, the value of having someone who can take, like Joey shared, I mean, all of that schooling, right? Your experience, putting all that together and personalizing it and making that assessment for you and your unique situation, right? The value of legal counsel is something that we are exposing our community to more and more, because we often have engaged with the law on the back end as a reaction, right? On the defense. And really, most of the law is about the offense, right? It's about being able to protect yourself and avail yourself of the law. And oftentimes we don't even have that interaction with the law as a result. And so we host monthly Ask Me Anything legal sessions to really expose people to, hey, these are what Black lawyers look like. This is what they sound like. This is where they are. And being able to give us insight into what legal talk or legal information, legal tips actually sounds like, right? And how it can be very applicable to your personal journey, your personal life, right? You're paying for that person's, like Craig says, you're paying for their expertise, right? You're paying for them, not just their time, you're paying for all them years and all that experience, and for them to wrap that up for you, right? And that's a high skill, not one that and it has a cost.
Right? Well, let me help you out, Kisha. Listen.
What?
People get paid to solve problems. If you can empty the trash, you can go right to work anywhere in America almost, and you can get paid to empty the trash.
Yeah.
So if you need to be represented in court, the person who empties the trash, nothing against the trash emptiers out there, because we need all of these positions handled. But the more complex the problem is, the more you're gonna pay. That's just, I don't care what when you go to these hospitals and they drain your money for your problem, you're not getting no discount. They're not giving you a discount. We have to maybe find a way as a Black community to have a fund, to have some kind of something that, okay, we all put into, but we all can use. I don't know. I don't know if that's the next tech company or not, but it's something that, and I think Prepaid Legal tried to do it, sort of.
No, they didn't.
I don't know if they wasn't for Black people, but they tried to.
That's the subscription model I was talking about, right? No. Where you pay, and to your point, that's what I think a lot of people think they're doing. They're paying into a pot like insurance that you'll be able to pull from later, and that's not the case. You're just paying a fee, right, to get 30 minutes of someone's time. And I will tell you, if you got a legal problem, you're not going to fix it in 30 minutes, right? And so that's where I don't do those subscription models. This is about connecting you to.
So it's two things, Kisha. It's not just a problem. Sometimes it's trademark. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's business things. Because I know I had a subscription, and my wife still might have it, but we needed a will. I'm not saying it's the best will or the worst will, but it got done, and we didn't pay any extra money. Now, if we needed a trust, they said, "Hey, go to this trust attorney, and you're gonna get 20% off."
Now, Impeccable, was that through an employee benefit, or was that through
prepaid legal? Prepaid legal.
It depends on your plan.
Now, I don't have no. I won't have no affiliation to it.
Yeah,
but I'm saying it's not going to work for every situation, but it works for some situations.
And those are often, I would imagine, your attorney in that estate plan, that will, I won't even call it estate plan, in that will was not a Black attorney, because prepaid legal does not partner.
I believe it wasn't even an attorney. It was a clerk, or what's the thing under the
paralegal?
Paralegal who copied and pasted something and sent it to me. That's what I believe it was. Anyway, we run out of time. We on a box. Me and Kisha about to get it started. We about to heat it up a little bit. But listen, this has been a fantastic show. We just touching the iceberg. Remember, we just come on here just to get you thinking in a different direction and letting you know that we're doing things as Black people that nobody else is going to talk about but the Afro. Facts for the last 131 years. You can check, fact check, and everything else. Okay, just like you said, you didn't know what it was. Here it is. The Afro said it right here in paragraph 3. White men collectively are a dead race.
All right.
Chief spokesperson.
Parents said it.
There it is. The chief spokesperson for Black Muslims back then said it, right? Then we talking about Howard. Well, I'll read the first paragraph. This is in the Afro archives, y'all. The Black American, 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, is alarmed, disturbed, and angry when he realizes, or she, that he is still struggling for not just justice, elemental justice, people. He has taken a long, hard look at his status in America and has decided to do something about it. This is Dr. James. Dr. James, what is it?
Neighbor.
Nabrit, president of Howard University. I don't know. I had to go back and see which issue in the Afro Archive this was. But there's your quote, just in case they said, did you hear what they said about the Malcolm X said the white man is dead? Hey.
Sounds like Malcolm
He
X.
did say it. You understand? He did say, so look, we're going to get on the box. We're going to go around and you can take, this is where you get to speak your truth about whatever is on your heart and mind. It could be about your business. It could be about this legal tech. It could be about whatever you feel. This is your space and your safe space to just release whatever you need to release. And let's see, who hadn't we heard from? James. Since you got them golf clubs, you might be having tea time. So you're on the box, baby. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So yes, I just want to close out by saying, first of all, we're all pushing, we're all pushing our companies. We all want to grow. So I want to say, come to www.ipgen.io if you have any, IP needs, entrepreneurship needs, but also at www.ileap.com. We're starting to, really push this startup. If you're a small business, if you're a school, a high school, if you know a high school student, if you're a high school student, come there, download our app. If you need to reach out to me, James at ipgen.io or James at ileap.com, and I'll be happy to help you with, with whatever you need. I'm just happy to be here, with these three. We might take this thing on the road. It seems like it's definitely been good with you all. This the second time that we've been presenting. So just look out for us. We're trying to really shine some light on this legal tech field because it's coming. You want to be in front of it and not behind it. So I'll pass it on to one of my other co-panelists.
Thank you for getting on the box, Courtney. You are on the box.
Yeah, I'm going to start off by saying thank you all for joining us on the Chicken Box today. Today, I definitely learned something new about legal tech, so thank you for that. And I love all of the work that you do with your startups. I think representation does matter, and this is huge for the Black community. So I just want to say that your work matters and, keep going no matter what. And people definitely appreciate everything that you do. So thanks and have a good weekend.
Absolutely. Kisha, you're on the box.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having us and featuring Justice Connection, when you're looking for an attorney, you are, whether it's for a car accident, family, business, estate planning, all of the things, it's about having access to information and being able to make a well-informed decision. So you see our website, www.justice, that's justice as in just is, what is just, justiceconnection.com. And please follow us on social media, right? That makes all the difference. We have a monthly newsletter where we put out information and connect you with lawyers and events and information. Monthly, we do not spam. So definitely sign up with us so you can stay connected. And I just want to thank all three of you for being amazing hosts and allowing us this opportunity, because it is about leveraging technology to increase access to justice, right? And Black people, we have our unique perspective, our voice, and it's about us taking this to the forefront, for us, by us.
Boom, for us, by us. Football, you done brought it back, girl. Keisha, you on something. Gen X is popping right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dr. Draper.
Well, let me echo what Courtney said. Thank you, James and Joey and Kisha, for being on today. You all defy the stereotype, that the lawyers are just out to get people's money. And, you all really have a heart for community, and I appreciate that. I've not used, Joey, your service or yours, James, but I have used Kisha's service, and just want to say to folk, it's easy. It doesn't cost anything. If you have a legal need, you go on, you fill out a short form, you fill in what it is that you need, because all legal needs are not litigation. A lot of times people, because we watch so much television, we think, everybody's going to end up in the courtroom. Well, you need a lawyer to keep you out of the courtroom, but there are a lot of business needs and other things that don't require litigation. Prayerfully, it doesn't require litigation. But anyway, I went on Kisha's site for someone else, and filled out a really short form. She's got a lot of information there that talks about, speaking of costs, about how to price or how to expect your prices to run. And within, I don't know, Kisha, less than 24 hours, somebody was contacting me. Now, the better way would have been for that person to do it themselves, because then they were contacting me and then I was contacting them. But still, but they were incarcerated. I just remember they were incarcerated at the time, so they didn't have access to good legal counsel. So that worked. And so, Joey, hats off to you for what you're doing, because people don't know what to do with these traffic stops, and if the cops no longer are obligated to read your Miranda rights, but the law hasn't changed, right? You still you're entitled to that. That's good, and I hope you get your app developed and ready soon, because that's really going to be helpful. And James, for all that you're doing in that space, international intellectual property space, and in the iLeap, there's a whole lot there as well. So I'm going to hop off because I have a 1 o'clock that I'm a couple seconds late for. Thank you all. Looking forward to having you back on individually as well. See ya.
Thank you.
By Dr. Draper. And man, go to afro.com, y'all. We have been around for 131 years, and for less than $2 Uber each, you can have a digital subscription. We're not owned by anybody but Black people. Black families been inspiring, informing, and educating for 131 years. Some people can't even count. If we do that every night, try to count to 131, we'll probably fall asleep, turn off that TV, just go to counting again. Like count backwards from 131, okay? And right, you remember that? All right, I'm dating myself. Come on, Kisha, you know you remember that.
I mean, I was with you, but it was an interesting example that you chose.
I just want to say, get a subscription. All right, it's not a shameless plug. It's like, hey, we're going to support you 100% for the next 131 years. We need your support in order to navigate that. I'm on the box right now. I'm going to let Joey go last. Listen, the truth poorly represented loses every time. How do I know? Because I've had a court case before, and the truth was poorly represented, and we got beat, we got winked, we got hoodwinked, we got everything that you can see happen in the courtroom when the boys get together and they know each other and all kind of other things. But understand the information, because when you understand the information, you'll be able to move in the right direction. And don't look at it as, hey, I'm just paying a bunch of money. Look at it as an investment and help me navigate the ship. So definitely say on your team, as you build your business and in your life, please include an attorney. And if it, moves you and you're Black, there are plenty of smart Black intelligent. I've had some other ones who was people close to me, and I used them because they were just my boys and they messed up. But that's not the case for everybody, right? Everybody's not everybody, but Kisha, at least you help weed out the ones who just are money grabbers and not really about doing the work that needs to be done in the field. And I thank you for that. But again, James, Joey, any fraternities out there? I'm gonna just throw it out there for free. I know it, James. There had to be one new in the building.
Yo.
What's wrong, Kisha? What's wrong?
All love. Is that? Can I just?
Yeah, just throw the love up there. But I knew the diamond was. I felt the diamond. So Joey, look, we're gonna play some golf when I come back. I'm between Atlanta and Baltimore. But I mean, James, Joey, thank you. You got the links on, so you play golf as well or no?
I do dabble in a little golf, but I'm improving I'm working on my putt game right now.
We need a tech foursome. And Kisha, you need to learn how to play. You can come out there.
You making assumptions.
Oh,
you
raise your hand.
My own clubs back here. So say the word.
There it is. Golf on me. We just stay on afterwards. So we can. I know y'all. We still broadcasting live. We're gonna get Joey. He's on the box right now. I got all the way off topic. Anyway, go ahead, Joey.
Listen, I thank you, impeccable Dr. Draper and Courtney, for having us on to talk about this topic. And what I would say is, more recently, over the last about 5 years, people have been very enraged with some of the things that they've seen. You know, we've seen a lot of things that have upset us as a community. We've seen a lot of injustice. We've seen a lot of things that are tragic and horrific, especially to the Black culture. And what I would tell people is that whether it's our app or our technology when it's developed or anybody else's, technology is not biased. Technology doesn't see color. Technology doesn't have, it's not an independent variable. It pretty much does what it's designed to do. And so what we always tell people is technology is what will help balance the scales for those people that are disadvantaged, for those people that are on the wrong end of some of the legal injustices that we've seen within reason, because it can't stop everything, but it can help prevent some things from happening. So, you know, whatever it is, if you cannot afford a lawyer, you know, try the technology, see what works for you. And if there isn't a technology that you feel like helps your, you know, protect your rights or help society, then work with somebody to invent your own, you know, because what we need a generation of collaborators and innovators that will see problems and will go and do something about it. You don't have to be a lawyer to create a solution for injustice, you know, it just helps. And I'll tell you now that the way we develop is that we collaborate with communities. I interview people myself. We do focus groups. So whatever community you're in, if you have an interest in it, you know, shoot us an email, connect with me on social, reach out, because the bottom line is that we are the change that we want to see. And that's not a cliche. That's the truth. You know, every day we wake up, we all have the ability to decide what we're going to do and what we're going to stand for. And so I would invite people to join us on our journey and what we're doing so that we can help prevent some of these things from progressing into the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being on the box, Jewel, Chippy, Taryn, Craig, anybody else who hasn't been in the chat who just listened, or if you're listening on the replay, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to publicly apologize to you, Kisha, for assuming. And maybe I didn't assume, but I just saw his golf clubs, okay? I didn't ask. I'm glad you play. So are you in for the foursome or not?
Oh, I play, but I'm not good.
now you
backpedal now.
Backpedaling, impeccable. You backpedaling now.
No backpedal now. Anyway, we're gonna go off the camera, and then I'm gonna tell you some other stuff, and then we're gonna exchange information. But everybody, thank you for tuning in. Look, this is Black People versus Legal Tech. Listen, use the technology to your advantage. Thank you for the blockchain. And Joey, what coin is it going to be? Because I want to know now. So I want to get the coin at 0.00001.
It's so funny you say that. We are actually a non-cryptocurrency blockchain that's facilitating use cases. And that's because we want everybody inclusively to be able to develop not just our products, but other people as well. Cryptocurrency works for some, but it's become a barrier for others. And so what we want to do is we're focusing on showing the use cases of what blockchain technology can do absence the cryptocurrency. So
I hope all you guys will come back and spend some time just on yourself on the show. And you guys have made me thinking in the collaborative moment we should have an Afro tech, some kind of technology. What do they call them? Conference.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So we can really collaborate and we can just build. That's what we need to do. Build and support each other and get our community's money coming in instead of going out to all of these other places that don't care about our dollar.
There you go.
Until next time, call a senior because they miss you. You think you're in your own world, you got so much to do. If you take 5 minutes and call a senior, that will really make their day. I say it every week, but I mean it. And don't text them. Please, just call them. They would love to hear from you. And maybe even see you. You can show them how to work FaceTime. Or if they don't have a phone, send them a smartphone. Take a little bit of money, add them to your account, an additional line, free phone, and send them a smartphone. We got to get our seniors involved in the technology as well. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Remember, stay on for 5 seconds so we can